So this is going to be another video that we can file under the category, are they really this freaking stupid? And of course the answer to that question is always yes. But in this video, I'm not talking about your typical Trump cultist. You know, the average moron drooling over themselves as they watch Fox News for hour after hour. No, in this video, I'm talking about the masters of the universe. These titans of industry, these CEOs who rake in tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year because they're so freaking brilliant. These people who supported Donald Trump thinking he was going to be so good for the economy, so good for business, so good for their companies, who in just a matter of weeks have realized how stupid an assumption that was. So let us begin with an article in Fortune. CEOs say they are losing faith in Trump. Quote, I don't trust what's said today will be true tomorrow. Let's read just a little bit of this. Good morning. How quickly CEO optimism has turned. I'm just back from the Yale CEO caucus in Washington, where 100 CEOs gathered with 60 big city mayors, policymakers, and journalists like me to talk off the record about navigating Trump 2.0. Gone is the optimistic dream of economic growth spurred by Trump's pro-business mindset around taxes and regulation. In its place is the grave uncertainty of not knowing what this administration will do next. As the host, Yale professor Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, noted afterward, the consensus was one of bewilderment, condemnation, and a feeling that Trump's policies were bad for the U.S. economy. Gee, you think? Though the attendees identified as 60% Republican to 40% Democrat, the mood was dour. In a flash poll at the summit, 80% of CEOs said they find themselves, quote, apologizing to our international partners for Trump's capriciousness. 85% oppose his approach to tariffs and think they're backfiring. Almost all, 92%, are now concerned about recession. Who are the idiots in the 8% who aren't concerned about recession? Indeed, Goldman Sachs chief economist just downgraded the entire U.S. economy. All right, you get the flavor here. These are people, 60%, is that what they said? Yeah, 60% Republican, thinking that Donald Trump was going to be good for business, and now they're discovering that he's not. And look at the headline here of this article again. I don't trust, this is one of the attendees, I don't trust that what's said tomorrow, man, why can't I read this headline? I don't trust that what's said today will be true tomorrow. Now, why is that? Is it because Donald Trump is a pathological liar and you can't believe a freaking word he says? If so, then where the hell have you been for the last 10 years? Are you just now discovering that this is a man whose word you cannot take at face value? A man you cannot believe on anything? A man who says one thing one day and the complete opposite the next day, or even just hours later? Is that the guy? That's the guy you voted for. And you thought that that man would bring stability? That man would be good for business? And here's the thing that's so stupid. Again, these are not your average MAGA hat wearing, Fox News watching Trump cultists who are too stupid to put on Velcro sneakers. Okay, this is not them. These are really rich people with, education out the wazoo. They've reached the highest echelons of business, and they're dumb as a bag of hammers. I mean, because one of the things you'll hear from these kinds of people, or you did during the election, was, he's been president once, so all these predictions of how bad he would be, I just don't believe him. Because he was president, and he didn't crash the economy when he was president. Were they not paying attention when he was president? Do they not read? I mean, you would think that these people read and keep themselves informed. Did they not know that during the first administration, this was a man who didn't even think he was going to win? He wasn't even running when he announced in 2015 to actually win. He was. This was a PR campaign for himself. He never expected to win, and he was surprised as the rest of us on election night in 2016 when he actually won. And he had no plan for governing. He had no plan for a transition. He didn't have a team, so he had the RNC basically staff his administration. You know, Reince Priebus and all those people staffed his administration. And who did they staff it with? You know, people who had been in Republican politics for decades. You know, establishment types. People you may not like, but who are not crazy. And so they were the adults. And they kept Donald Trump in check. Donald Trump wanted to do a whole lot of crazy shit in his first term, but he was stopped at every turn. Were they not aware of this? I mean, you and I know that that's the case. Lots of people know that that was the case. But were these geniuses completely unaware of that? And were they completely unaware that Donald Trump would not in a second term have any of those kinds of people in his administrations? That it would only be staffed full of lunatics? And that, because that's exactly what has happened. Did they not know that? We all knew that. How did they not know that? So if they did know that, and they should have known that because that information was, you know, widely available. I mean, Project 2025 is the blueprint. I mean, he told us what he was going to do. They should have known all that. I don't know whether they did or not, but they should have known. And if they are going to back a candidate, either knowing all that and still backing him, then they're morons. Or if they didn't inform themselves about who it was that they were supporting, then they're also morons. Okay, they should have known that this man is an agent of chaos. He is a breathtakingly stupid person who cares only about himself. And now, as we're learning more and more every single day, and which we've known for a long time, but I don't think we fully appreciated the depths of this, he's not even president. He is the figurehead. The real president is people like Elon Musk and really, I think, Vladimir Putin. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent. The point is, this guy saying, I don't trust that what's said today will be true tomorrow, and yet he's surprised by this. He's surprised after backing the world's biggest liar. I mean, he's probably the biggest liar in world history. Can you think of anyone who is more pathological in their lying? And the number of lies about things large and small. This man lies about everything. He lies about things there's no reason to lie about. And they think they are now surprised that they can't trust what this man says? Morons. Okay. And before I move on, tariffs. You know, they're talking in here in this article, these CEOs, they're all worried about the tariffs. Donald Trump was talking about tariffs throughout the entire campaign. Tariffs. There's a magical word, the most beautiful word in the English language. Tariffs. He promised tariffs. He wouldn't shut the fuck up about tariffs. And yet they didn't think he'd actually do it, because that's the other thing they told us all the time. And here's the irony. So on the one hand, they're telling us, oh, yeah, I can't believe he's a liar. I can't believe we can't trust the word he says. Yet these same kinds of people were making excuses for him when he was saying all this crazy shit like imposing tariffs on everybody. They'd say, oh, he doesn't mean it. Essentially, that's a lie. He's just saying that. He's not really going to do it. So these people are shocked. These same people who are now shocked to find out that Donald Trump is a liar defended him during the campaign by pointing to the fact that he's a liar. I mean, just this will make your head explode. Okay, I have another article here. This is about the CEO of Delta Airlines, who was supporting Trump. Here's an article from 2024. Headline in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution: Delta CEO expects Trump presidency will be positive for the airline. Now, I'm not going to read this because I can't. As you can see, I don't subscribe to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, but I read a little of this before when it first popped up. This wasn't all blurred out. Anyways, you can pretty much guess what this is about. All right, the takeaway: the CEO of Delta expected that Donald Trump would be positive for the economy, and positive for the business, for his business, for Delta Airlines. So he supported Donald Trump. Guy named, what's this guy's name? Ed Bastian. Ed Dumbass. Anyway, so that was back November 11th, 2024. Now, fast forward just a handful of months later, man hadn't even been in office for 2 months yet, and we get this headline from CNBC. Airline CEOs warn domestic travel demand is slowing. Translation, the economy is going to shit and Donald Trump is bad for business, including airlines. So what say you now, dumbass Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta? Probably not much. Let me just read a little of this to you. Airlines are cutting their first quarter profit and sales estimates, warning that a weaker economic backdrop is weighing on travel demand. Ahead of a JP Morgan industry conference, American Airlines on Tuesday said it expects to lose between 60 cents a share and 80 cents a share in the first 3 months of the year, a wider loss than the 20 to 40 cents a share it previously forecast. It said revenue will likely be flat on the year compared with a January estimate. And January was what? 6 weeks ago? A January estimate of a rise of as much as 5%. So just 6 weeks ago, they were projecting a 5% increase in the airline industry. And yet now, just 6 weeks later, they're saying, yeah, there's not going to be any increase. It's going to be flat. And I guarantee you, in just a couple of weeks, we'll look back and they will revise these estimates even down. They will be expecting, more than likely, negative growth in this sector. Because when the entire economy goes to shit, people don't have money for air flights, right? People aren't buying plane tickets to go different places unless they absolutely have to when the economy goes to shit. And this economy is going to shit on a rocket. Okay, the speed with which Donald Trump is destroying this economy is really something to behold. I knew he was going to tank the economy. I didn't quite expect it to be this fast. Morons. Delta CEO supports Donald Trump. Now his entire industry is going in the shitter. CEOs at this conference in Washington, most of them supported Donald Trump. Now they're all freaking out. What are we going to do? We can't trust what this guy says. We don't know what to tell our international partners. Please don't abandon us. Buy our stuff. Please buy our stuff. These people, these are supposed to be the best and brightest. The titans of industry, the smartest people in the room, blithering freaking idiots. All the information is there. Donald Trump is one of the dumbest people to ever walk the face of the earth. They thought this moron was going to be good for business.